Staying with issues around former President Jacob Zuma, some members of the South African National Civic Organization in KwaZulu-Natal are disputing weekend reports that he was elected as the provincial chairperson. In a statement, SANCO says that there is already an existing structure that has a term which will only come to an end in 2025. Let's speak then to the provincial secretary, Sizwe Cele. Very good evening to you, sir. Thank you for your time. So, is former President Jacob Zuma the SANCO chairperson in KwaZulu-Natal or not?
Hello.
Hi there, Puti. I can hear you. I was just asking if former President Jacob Zuma is indeed the SANCO chairperson or not in KZN.
Hello, Timbegile. Greetings to you and greetings to all Newzroom Afrika listeners. Comrade President Zuma is not the chairperson of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal. SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal was launched on 12 June 2021. We've got Comrade Lawrence Dube, who is the chairperson of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal. Comrade Sizwe Cele, which is myself, who is a Provincial Secretary of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal. As the only legitimate structure of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal, we were flabbergasted by the news that there was a provincial conference of SANCO in KwaZulu-Natal. That was never a provincial conference of SANCO. Instead, it was just an illegal and unconstitutional gathering of constitutional delinquents who practice what is foreign to SANCO. We did, of course, notice the faces of some expelled members of SANCO who sometimes were processed through the disciplinary processes of SANCO because of their misbehavior within the organization. Consequently, they were expelled. However, they continued to use the name of SANCO illegally. They are scandalizing the good name of SANCO. So that is what is happening currently.
So what happens now that you basically have, at least from what you're telling us, two parallel structures?
Basically, we do not have two parallel structures. We only have one parallel structure. This is how it works. The first structure that is launched is the original structure, and there is no parallel in that. So it becomes parallel once we have a second structure. The structure becomes the one which is parallel. In the case of the province, the current structure was launched in 2021, and it will continue to exist up until June 2025. But let me give you a bit of background on this. In 2019, on the 19th of January, the National Conference of SANCO was held in Gauteng, specifically in Alexandra, and the National Executive Committee was elected there. Of course, each time there are conferences, there will be disgruntled members whose ambitions for leadership will not emerge. So what happens consequently, they went on to form another bogus structure. When we heard about that, our NEC, our National Executive Committee, tried to engage those comrades who were disgruntled because their leadership ambitions did not emerge in that particular conference. When these comrades were obstinate about their intended interest of launching a bogus structure, we then had no choice but to seek the court intervention. We then took the matter back in 2019 to get the court to interdict these delinquent members of SANCO. Indeed, only last year, there was a brief court sitting, which then ruled that there should be a full hearing on this matter. And up to this day, we are still waiting for the court to sit to give us the date.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, prior to this bogus conference taking place, our attorneys did write to the Gauteng South High Court to request them to expedite this matter because these disgruntled members continue to use the name of SANCO in vain. They continue with their ulterior motives to try to score their political cheap scores against their political dictators, which is what we cannot allow in the name of SANCO.
So will you go to court then? Because at the moment, there's a great deal of confusion among society, especially about who the rightful leadership of SANCO actually is. Will you now go to court
Yes.
to challenge this election, which you say is not legit?
Let me say this to you, Tebegile, because we as the bona fide members of SANCO were always concerned to say the court processes are taking too long. Of course, we can't put a court under pressure because we don't know what other tasks that they have to deal with. But what has happened right now, as much as it is negative, but we are very hopeful that even the judges, of course, there are people in South Africa, they will see the national crisis this bogus structure is causing now. Probably we believe that then they will exercise their judgment to expedite the date for the court, because we've been waiting for the date for much too long while these illegitimate members of SANCO who have been expelled continue scandalizing the good name of SANCO. Even now, we are very embarrassed and perplexed to see them inviting our elderly statesman, getting him to join their poker structure, knowing fully well that they do not have the right to recruit members. As we speak, former President Zuma is not the member of SANCO, because you cannot say you are a member of SANCO if you took up your membership with the poker structure. So we are hoping that the court will see the need to expedite, because it's us who took them in court. Even in court, if you read the court papers, it says SANCO and the others, because it's us who's recognized even in court as SANCO, not them.
Let me ask you this then, Mr. Cele. When it comes to former President Jacob Zuma, do you believe that he was duped into joining an illegitimate structure, or that he's an active participant in the activities of that structure, knowing full well what its objectives and intentions are?
I probably wouldn't speak on his behalf, but given that he is a former president of the ANC and he's a former president of the country, we think he should have done his due diligence to realize that, look, this matter as we speak is sub judice. So when he gets involved in the matters of SANCO, which are still being in the hands of court, I think that is a risk that he has taken to say probably he really needs SANCO in his life right now. Unfortunately, he got himself mixed with the illegitimate structure.
So you think this was a calculated move on his part?
Look, as SANCO, we have always held a view that some of the challenges that we've got as SANCO were really cooked within the highest echelons of the ANC political structures. Because if I may give you a bit of a background, in 2019, when we launched our structure, the ANC had deployed Comrade David Mahlobo and Comrade Alvin Botez as the deployees of SANCO. Comrade David Mahlobo did deliver a message of support within our national conference. After that, Comrade Makashule received a full report on the proceedings of our conference, and things continued as normal. 3 months down the line, we then heard that there are people who have gathered themselves down in Durban who were then launching another structure which they called SANCO. So at that point, we then got the report from Comrade Makashule that they are now confused as the ANC as to which one is SANCO. Then we're asking ourselves question and also asking Comrade Makashule to say, Comrade Makashule, in our conference, you had deployed 2 NEC members who came to our conference and even delivered a message of support. Whereas this book, a structure when it's set, it did not invite the ANC nor any of the alliance partners. But therefore, how come you say you are now confused which one is SANCO? Between the one that you knew about, the one which you even sent deployees to go and deliver the message from the ANC, and the one which you did not know about, and the one which you never sent anyone to go there and give a message of support. So from there, we began to hear conflicting messages from the then leadership of the ANC. Of course, we understand that Comrade Makashule is a big ally of Comrade Jacob Zuma. So we really cannot really pinpoint as to what is happening. But as politicians ourselves, we always have to use the tools of analysis to say, see, you can really see that probably there are ulterior motives about SANCO, and we are fully much aware that there are people who have always wanted to turn SANCO into a political party.
Ulterior motives from where? The side of former President Zuma?
Ulterior motive from the office of S. Makashule, which then started casting doubt on a successfully and constitutional held national conference of SANCO in 2019, which then gave a way for this bogus structure to exist. Because this bogus structure existed, the first one in 2019, started to exist after the national conference. Okay. As we speak today, this other one, which just recently launches on top of the already existing structure in KZN, which successfully set in 2021. So that's the thing now to say, if you look at this matter closely, of course, you do not get peace. You might as well conclude to say, of course, there are more other people involved in trying to destabilize the alliance. Because if you destabilize the SANCO, you of course destabilize the alliance, because the SANCO speaks for the voiceless. The SANCO speaks for the poorest of the poor. We are so close to the ground. As we speak, we are the SANCO which got members on the ground. The SANCO that was launched.
So do you believe, I'll ask this again differently, do you believe then that former President Jacob Zuma is, shall we say, an innocent bystander then who's been tricked into joining the wrong SANCO by your account, or do you think he's willingly gone with the agenda that you're suggesting has been at play?
Well, it's too early to say right now, Tembegile, but we cannot eliminate anything. All possibilities might be true. We don't really know. But our position is to say former President Zuma is a tried and tested politician. He served in the intelligence of the ANC. Before he takes any decision, he always calculates. That is at least what is expected of him. So that's why we say we think that move was not a good one to take, because even when he was going through challenges in 2021, when we believe was incarcerated, we as this SANCO of KZN joined the campaign which spoke about #free Jacob Zuma. Okay. So when he's out of prison, then we getting disturbed. We feel that he has even betrayed us, because we supported him in all his challenges as a former statesman, to say, probably he's too old to go to prison. On those bases, we felt that as much as we respect the rule of law, but there should be a provision or an exception which is made for a struggling hero like himself.
Sizwe Cele from SANCO in KZN, thank you for your time tonight, sir. Thank you.